again from Normandy. If music be the food of love, play on. Give me excess of it. Well, it was all very well for Duke Orsino, but I think with chickens that food is the food of love. And that's not just enjoyment of food for food itself, but it's also using food as an expression, either between couples or from a very early age. And by early I mean even before you're a glint in your daddy's eye. Oh, all right then. Here I come, your piece each. Thank you. In 1969, Alan W. Stokes carried out a study, parental and courtship feeding, within the San Diego Zoo. And they had a large population of what were basically free-living red jungle fowl within the 100 hectares of the zoo. And this is unusual to find a single study like this, because normally when I'm looking at behaviour in the garden, when I do the research around it, I'm looking in a lot of different texts from the early 20th century up until around about the 60s, because that was really the last time that there was a sizable population of wild jungle fowl. So I've built up what could be classed as a mini documentary around comparing and contrasting his results with mine. And the important thing, though, with food is to realise the central place it has within the chick's life, and something that we perhaps as humans have lost, this idea that without good food we don't have good health. Without food we can't survive. And chickens seem to be able to master that idea right from the beginning, and they're taught that by their mother, and that is that they're eating to live and living to eat. Because they love that food, and they do express that love of food quite freely, something sadly we seem to have lost. So they do have, in my opinion, a very strong understanding of the position that food holds in their lives, both as so important for optimum physical and nervous system health, but also as a way of expressing affection for each other. So food of love and love of food. Now, with tit-bitting, which was a term coined in a study first in 1927, it has to do with how the cockerel will present the hen with some particularly choice morsel of food to try and attract her attention onto him, show her what a good provider he could be, and thus this is the prelude to the bonding of the cockerel with the female. Now, Stokes also noted that the cockerel does not always look for the choicest morsels. He will get a bit of stone or stick or a leaf or a branch and present that to the hen. Now, he was quite generous in his interpretation of this, saying it was a symbolic gesture, but to my mind it's lazy. And it happens a lot with me with young cockerels who just chances, basically. They're trying to attract a hen without making any effort whatsoever. And my hens know of this. It's only the giddy, young, juvenile females who will actually come forward to look at that piece of food, which isn't food at all. The other thing with my cockerels, which is different to Stokes' observation, is that they actually involve a dance with their presentation of food, with their tit-bitting. And I see that sort of paso doble kind of step that they do to sort of gather in the female. They dance around her and put their wing down, which is also a dominant signal, which they also give to other cockerels, and females will give the same signal to each other to show that they're dominant. So my cockerels are really into dinner and dance. Oh, who wants this? Do you want that?
What was that? Oh, it's all right.
Now, he's a male, he'll probably offer that to somebody who'll make a funny noise. He won't eat it, he's offering it. But he's a bit of a con merchant because once they get there he eats. He's a bit of a fibber. Oh, alright, if you're offering that, look, he's offering you a wormy, look, he's got one. Oh, you were too fast for him.
It's like a diamond bracelet.
In order to segue neatly from courtship feeding to parental feeding, I've got this little film clip which shows what happened when I put a bucket of compost down in front of a group of poultry and mayhem broke out because it seems at this point they didn't know who was supposed to be attracting whom, and there were lots of different signals being given out here. Stokes saw a very particular demarcation between the behaviours of mother hens and chicks from hatch up to about 8 to 10 weeks of age. Over the years I've watched and filmed my birds with their chicks, and I see it as very much an individual way of behaving. Now I do see that, but in my chicks from day one it is always accompanied with a vocalisation to get the chicks interested in the food. You can tell she's going to be a good mother because she's actually thinking about them before she thinks about herself. She won't have eaten probably for the days she's been waiting for them to hatch, but even so she's calling them out rather than just gobble up the food, which some hens do because they're so hungry. You can't blame her, but she's actually bothering about them straight away. Breaking up the food is a really good sign. She also possibly will do what a lot of other good mothers do. She'll feed them by mouth, which means that she's passing on dietary enzymes to them.
Breakfast is served.
Then he goes on to talk about what happens after a week. The chicks are moving away to look for their own food, and so she needs to be able to call them back when she finds something particularly good for them. Now, he also says that she develops a very high-pitched voice, and as the chicks get more advanced and move further away, she obviously needs to make her voice carry over the background noise. But I've seen mother hens get excited when the chicks are right there. They're making very excited noises because something's particularly good to eat. And I think for them, it's not so much that the chicks are moving away, it's because they want to signal to the chicks that these are really important foodstuffs. So I notice it more with mealworms or wood lice, or if I put down a load of compost, for example. And I see it in quail too when I give them an ant's nest, which is very high in amino acids and the B vitamins. So I think that's more the reason to the mother hen, because she wants to tell them this is what you should be eating. And also Stokes said that there was a tail off with the mother hens after about 10 weeks, that they stopped vocalising, that they stopped trying to feed the chicks. Well, I've had hens that a year later have met their previous chicks in the garden and tried to feed them and make the same vocalisations. So that doesn't hold true. But then he didn't observe the same groups over a year. He looked at them for some months. In the case of when a hen is brooding chicks that aren't hen chicks, but quail or ducks, I've noticed that it doesn't take those babies a long time to recognise the signalling. When I've put older quail chicks with a mother hen, it's taken them some time to learn those signals. I had this funny situation with my coaching hen, Pearl, who hatched ducklings, and she actually developed an almost duck-like cry, which was really interesting. Seems to have developed a high squeaking duck type voice, which is incredible. It's actually changed her own voice patterns. So the hens do adapt to the situation. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and please do comment on anything you've seen in your own flock, or you might have seen it in wild birds as well, and look forward to seeing you again when I am going to be talking about the colours of quail. All the very best from snowy Normandy.